Mission Impossible 2. Welcome back, guys, to my series of Mission Impossible reviews leading up to Mission Impossible Fallout later on in July this month. And now, let's get started with probably the worst film in the franchise, Mission Impossible 2. Now, I don't completely hate this movie. I don't. Do I think it's a good movie? Not at all. Not at all. There are some cool moments in Mission Impossible 2. There are scenes in this movie I really do like some of the action scenes, like later on in the film, and the explosions are very cool to see. Cool to see, but other than the explosions and the action scenes, this is not really a Mission Impossible film because this movie feels more of a John Woo film where you see a lot of doves, slow mo, and extreme close ups on people's faces, and it doesn't feel like a Mission Impossible film at all. It feels more of a James Bond movie directed by John Woo with Mission Impossible in the title and Tom Cruise and Ethan Hunt in this movie. This movie feels very out of place. It feels very out of place, and it kind of sucks because I'm not the biggest fan of the first Mission Impossible. I do think that is a very good film, and that was a very good start to the franchise. Yeah, I feel like the sequel card probably could have improved over that film, but unfortunately that wasn't the case with Mission Impossible 2. And fun fact for this movie, and for myself included, this movie actually came out on my birthday, May 24th, 2000, which I found kind of funny because this movie came out the day I was born, and it was a high grossing film of 2000. And yeah, something I want to throw out there, just fun fact. And yeah, Mission Impossible 2. I do like the rock climbing scene in this movie with Ethan Hunt rock climbing, but at the same time, it's like, what is he doing rock climbing like in this movie? Like, it, the logic in this movie is like thrown out the window, to be honest. And when he was rock climbing, and it's like, I don't know if it was added in there for the movie to be cool, because that's another thing with this movie. It tries way too hard to be cool and hip and edge, because this movie was promoted as MI2 instead of Mission Impossible 2, because it was 2000. Everything was trying to be too cool than what it already is, because it's Mission Impossible. It's based off a TV show from the 60s. Like, come on. But he rock climbs, and then he gets his sunglasses, and the iconic, this thing will self-destruct in 5 seconds, and your message will choose to accept it. And out of all the things, the sunglasses, like, really, like, this movie tries way too hard. And even like the theme song, they remixed the theme song with like a rock heavy metal version of the original Mission Impossible theme song, which is cool, but why? Just this whole movie is just a really, it just this movie is an example of early 2000s cheesiness, like the early 2000s cliche, like the heavy rock, like theme and the slow mo. And I will admit, this movie is very boring at times. Like, there are scenes in this movie where it just drags far too long and it feels very slow, and the runtime is at 2 hours and 3 minutes, and it feels like it's just going painfully too long, and the pacing is so slow. The first movie had a very fast pace and it moved by swiftly, but in this movie, it's like it's just slow and dull and boring. Like, and back to Ethan Hunt in this movie, he is definitely not the same character as he was in the last movie, because this is not the character of Ethan Hunt that we know in the first movie and in the other film. He is more of a playboy, James Bond like character, and it's like, oh my god, like, what was Tom Cruise even thinking when he produced this film? Like, nobody like even watched the first movie when they did this movie. And I get the fact that they want to get a different vibe from the first film, like in each of the other sequels, but in this movie, it's like, I don't feel like this movie is even canon. Like, it doesn't even feel like it's part of the same franchise as it was in the first film. Like, it feels like a completely different movie. Like I said, if you erase Mission Impossible in the title, it's just a slow mo close up film with doves, honestly, and it just doesn't feel like this is the same Ethan Hunt that we know in the first movie. This doesn't feel like the same hero. This doesn't feel like the protagonist we all know and love. It doesn't. It really doesn't. and it kills me honestly, and it really makes the movie crap compared to the first film. And like I said, I did love the first film. The first movie had some room for improvement for the sequel, but unfortunately, the sequel falls flat on its butt compared to the first film. And the love triangle between him and Danny Newton's character and Duke Gray Scott's character, the villain, I didn't care for that at all because like Danny Newton trying to like she's in on it with the whole thing with Duke Gray Scott's plan to like spread a virus all over the world, and she's in it as well. And but even though she's not, she's working with Ethan, and she try to like act like they're a couple again. It's like who wrote this? Who wrote this, honestly? And Duke Gray Scott plays a very over the top villain. I thought he was very laughable. I thought he was not written very well. And honestly, Duke Gray Scott is not a bad actor. He's not. I like him in some of the stuff he's been in. But him in this movie is like atrocious. Like, well, not atrocious. He just over the top and just really he plays he honestly like the villain he plays is very like a James Bond villain, like very over the top, very laughable, and his motivation, his plan is so unrealistic, and this movie at times is like it makes me think about it more. It's like this is part of the same franchise as the first film and the other movies because this movie seems way too unrealistic, and some of the things in this movie is not plausible when it comes to real life, and it's like what? Like where's the sign? Where's like the realism in this? Like I don't know. I don't know. It's very. It's almost like they try to like make it seem like very cool and edgy, and just out of this world and over the top. They try to do it with the sequel, and I just wasn't feeling it at all. And these motorcycle chase sequence, I will admit, that was cool. And the final action scene between Duke Scott and Ethan Hunt, that was cool. When he like almost stabs Ethan Hunt with that knife, that honestly kind of got me like, ooh, that was way too close. That was way too close. But that was an intense scene. The action scene between those two, that was very well done. There are scenes in this movie that are beautiful. Like there are some scenes in the movie, like the action, and I will admit the score by Hans Zimmer is pretty cool as well. But except for like the rock version of the Mission Impossible theme, they did not need to do that as well. Because like I said, they tried way too hard to be cool. And Ethan Hunt is right on a motorcycle with a leather jacket and sunshade because trying way too hard to be cool. And that's my problem with this movie. Mission Impossible 2 tries way too hard to be cool that it doesn't feel like a Mission Impossible movie at all. I mean, the dialogue is just uninteresting, and Anthony Hopkins I feel like is wasting in this movie, and Luther Stickle I feel like he just thrown in there. I'm gonna give Mission Impossible 2 a C minus. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Look forward for my review of Mission Impossible 3 very soon. And as always, guys, if you are new to my channel and you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.